let's go back to the beginning of when you started this scholarship. Let's talk about why you wanted to do this.
So I incidentally stumbled on Mauricio's second trial. There was a reporter there who asked me just what I thought about the case. And I said, what case? I was kind of familiar with the Isaiah Torres case just through the news, but didn't realize Mauricio's second case was going on right at that time. And she told me that's what was going on. And she asked if I knew that these were public. And I said, no. I'm a nurse. My whole career has been nursing. I didn't know a lot about our court or judicial system. And so after she told me they were public, I walked in and sat through the rest of his second trial and then waited till 2023 to sit through his third trial. And so talking with a younger person at work, just talking about something like the Morgan Nick series on Hulu, and they said, who's Morgan Nick? And so the thought of Isaiah, somebody saying that about him and his name not continuing to circulate and be alive in our community just kind of made me sick. So I wanted to find a way that our community could remember him and he could impact people for a long time. And so the Isaiah Torres Memorial Scholarship is where that came from.
Where does it stand today? I understand you got some good news after you got it started.
Yes. So as of November, we have now reached $25,000 in the Isaiah Torres Memorial Scholarship Fund. So that means it's now endowed and will be a part of NWACC forever. And it's actually the first fully fundraised scholarship in NWACC history.
Really? All right. So who can use this? How do you figure out who gets it? That kind of thing. I mean, now that it's established, what are the goals of this now?
So it's established for the 25-26 year. The endowment money has to be invested for a year before it's used. But because of generous people in our community and people who continue to donate, we may be able to give 3 to 4 scholarships this year just to students that are going into the Child Advocacy Studies program at NWACC. And so they'll be the future frontline workers of DHS. And if you have somebody that has a heart and a passion for this kind of career, even though they may not have the financial means to it, we want to break down those walls so the right people can be in these fields.
All right. So give me the requirements. You have to be in a certain field and you have to go to NWACC.
You have to go to NWACC. You have to be live in Benton or Washington County. You have to be enrolled at least 6 hours in a child advocacy studies program. And you have to demonstrate the need for financial need.
So how cool is this that it got to this point in a very quick amount of time?
I know. I'm so thankful for our community and just allowing me to be a part of community things. Like I was able to do First Friday in Bentonville, and that was a huge awareness event. And it just allows us to get information in the community. Arkansas is the #1 state for child maltreatment. And until we talk about this really hard issue, nothing's going to change. We need to bring light to this so we can make changes.
So you're a nurse. You don't have any ties to the family. You just kind of happened upon this and you decided to do something about it.
Yeah, I have always felt, just sitting in that courtroom, just even for the second trial, I've always felt connected to Isaiah in a way that I can't explain. And so I think that there are some things that are just, that aren't coincidences. Like I think I was meant to be there that day. I was meant to talk to that reporter. I was meant to sit in those trials. His family is aware of the scholarship, his remaining family, that they didn't know he existed until he was gone. But they are extremely supportive, and it means a lot to me to have their trust and support in this also.
That was my next question, is what does the family say about all this? I'm sure they're thrilled.
They're very excited. We have good communication, and I happened to cold call his aunt because that was the only name I could find. And I just stumbled through the whole phone conversation. I said, I know this sounds crazy, but I don't know you and you don't know me, but I want you to know that I'm doing this. And I think it's really important that we continue to honor him and keep his name alive, in the community. He stands for Isaiah, and he stands for his brothers and sisters. He stands for kids that, have been rescued from abusive situations. He stands for kids that are still in that situation. And I think it's so important that we continue to share his story.
How can someone donate to this now?
So you can donate through the NWACC Foundation website. You can check out, we've got a Facebook page and an Instagram that has links to where you can donate. It's tax deductible, and 100% of the funds go toward the scholarship. I'm actually about to start a t-shirt fundraiser. I've designed some t-shirts with the help of Skyline in Bentonville, and those will be available, and it'll be perfect time since April is Child Abuse Awareness Month, and we can kind of line up with that.
So you mentioned there could be some scholarships handed out for this coming fall. So the application process has started, and how can students do that?
If you are a student at NWACC that is enrolled in child advocacy studies, they can go ahead and apply just on the NWACC website. And it'll just go into the general pool. They'll write essays, and then they'll decide who's selected for those scholarships. And then after the board selects the winners, I get to meet the recipients. So I'm very excited about that. It's going to mean a lot to see who are the first scholarship recipients to this.
The number of recipients, how big do you want to see this get every year?
I want this to continue to grow. I want this to be a big thing. Eventually, I may start my own nonprofit in his name, and that would allow me to do more things in the community, as well as donate more money to NWACC for scholarships. I think this is something that can grow, and I think this issue is so important and ongoing, and I think that we just, as a community, need to really rally together for these kids.
Amy, thank you so much. Bless you for doing this. Boy, I hope you get a lot of people.
So much for doing this.